You've finally finished your CASA articles. First of all, huge congrats, that's a massive achievement. But now we're all wondering, what salary should we be earning? In this video, I'm going to break down salary expectations post-articles, including industry ranges, promotions, where in South Africa pays the best, and how much money you could earn abroad. Let's chat on the key factors that influence your salary. To note, as a disclaimer, your salary post-articles isn't a one-size-fits-all at all. I've seen so many different variations of salaries. Some are a lot lower than I thought, some are a lot higher than I thought, so let's debunk all of that. So in terms of key factors, few things to consider. As we all know, Joburg tends to pay the most, with Cape Town just behind them, and your smaller cities being a lot lower. Industry-wise, audit, finance, tech, you name it, they all have their different pay scales. So size of the company matters. Although big corporates tend to pay more at first, a lot of startups will offer equity and the salaries will scale with your experience. Another key factor is additional experience. If you've had additional experience, or you have relevant technical skills, or you have another degree like a master's, you might even start a bit higher than your peers. And what do I mean by relevant technical experience? This is something that traps a lot of people, I think. The expectation is, oh, I'm going to start as a finance manager and I'm going to earn the big bucks. That's not always true, because if you think about it, if you've been auditing now and you've only ever done audit, you've probably never seen what a QuickBooks or a Xero journal even looks like, let alone have you processed a month end. You've never done payroll, you've never done tax returns. You don't really actually have relevant technical experience, so you probably won't be remunerated as much as someone who might have done their articles in a firm in which they actually had that sort of hands-on experience. And the same goes for a finance role. You've come out of audit and you move into finance, you might start as a junior because you've never done financial modeling. That's why it's really important to start looking at qualifications like the CFA, the FMVA, and developing your financial modeling on the side if finance is where you're interested. And in general, just consider, what am I interested in? Let me develop the skills now so that when you enter salary negotiations, you have the upper hand. Okay, so let's break down salary ranges by industry. Here's a breakdown of typical post-article salaries, plus what it would look like per month. And just a disclaimer, as I said, these are research prices. I know a lot of people might be like, I do corporate finance and that's not how much I earn. These are averages. Not everyone's going to pay this much or this little, but it is a general guide. I do exist pretty much only on LinkedIn, and I do see a lot of recruiting ads. So this is market research plus from the web. But if it's slightly different for your case, please feel free to let us know in the comments. I feel like salaries after articles or in general are this weird black box that no one talks about. But let's just be transparent. I want this community to be as transparent as possible so that people know what the CASA career path entails and what it could look like and what it looks like for a lot of us who have qualified. Once again, I digress. Here are the industry ranges. So staying in audit, your salary typically ranges from about 550,000 to 650,000 a year. So you're looking at about 45 to 55,000 a month. Pretty decent. Commercial finance tends to pay a lot higher, so that's commercial finance and FP&A, where you could earn from 650 to 850,000 a year, so up to 71,000 rand a month, and that's usually in Joburg, but I have seen Cape Town roles also offered at that sort of level. Tech and startups, so diverse, really depends, especially if you have relevant technical experience, but because those startups are usually looking for someone who's kind of newly qualified and is like willing to jump to a CFO role quite quickly, they can pay a bit higher. So it could be in the range of 600,000 a year to R1 million a year. So probably a starting salary of 50,000 rand a month. Consulting tends to pay quite a lot more. So that's with your bigger consulting firms like Bain, BCG, McKinsey, where it can pay as much as 75,000 to 100,000 rand a month. And then investment banking or VCs tend to pay probably the most, and especially in Joburg, where it could be as much as 1 million to 1.1 million. So 83,000 to 92,000 rand a month. But again, that comes down to relevant technical experience and those key factors that I mentioned. So big disclaimer, you're probably unlikely to earn as much as 1 million rand a year, but it can happen. Then let's chat on salary by location. Where you work matters quite a lot. So Joburg pays a lot more. Cape Town pays less, but I love Cape Town. I'm a big Cape Town stan. I will say though, it has gotten so expensive to live here. So maybe value in terms of your salary to cost ratio of Joburg might be a little bit better. but it's always a consideration. In your smaller cities, they tend to pay about 10 to 20% less. Then remote or hybrid, those usually pay you a bridging salary. So they'll go upper range South Africa to lower range of the international equivalent. And at least they should be doing that, if not paying you the international equivalent. I have seen roles offered for, say, the UK as an FM, and it's literally less than what you'd earn in South Africa. That's unacceptable. Do not accept that. Know your worth. Then if you're interested, I know I did say this is for South Africa, but if you're interested, if you did move abroad, I have seen a lot of starting salaries, say in the UK, starting at about £55,000 a year and can go up to £70,000. The US tends to pay a bit higher, so $90,000 to $120,000 a year, and then the UAE and Australia usually a bit higher. Now let's talk about promotion and progression trends after articles. Things get exciting here. If you plan your life correctly, your salary can go up very, very quickly. So the industry standard is usually a 15 to 25% increase within your first 12 to 18 months of working. To fast track this, it's usually in your roles in FP&A, corporate finance that scale a lot faster because you move from junior to intermediate to senior a bit faster, and the salary jumps between those roles are bigger. I know in audit, there's usually about an 18-month promotion cycle. Also huge jumps between there, but little annual jumps. Startups are also a great way to fast track that. If you show your worth very quickly, your promotional increase potential is huge. The slower paths are often the ones you don't think about, but like say you start off as an FM, the next jump is an FD or a CFO. And to get to those levels, usually you need quite a lot of experience. So not just generic FM roles, usually in a more established company or financial accountant role. It takes quite a lot of experience to get to the next step. It's much harder to scale up. So you probably won't see these massive increases in your salary in the first bit of your career, but that's not to say that you won't get inflationary increases. And for all of these roles, this is something I feel like people are really afraid to talk about, but you can ask for salary increases, and it is your right to ask for performance reviews and to say, I think I deserve to be paid more because I've done X amount of work at this level of experience, I've upskilled in this way. You can totally ask, and you should totally ask. If you don't ask, you will never receive. Let's talk about the highest paying roles early on in your career. If you're chasing the 800,000 to over $1 million sometimes per annum roles, then you tend to want to look in corporate finance in Joburg. That's kind of the given. In Cape Town, a remote role could offer you just as much, if not more, and that's usually within the FP&A finance analyst space. Another option to get you there could be within consulting, but usually for an actual consulting firm, less likely in a big four firm. But again, if that's not your experience, please let us know. But to sum it up, I would say the safest bet for the higher salaries, corporate finance, and then USD-linked remote jobs will pay you the most. Hey guys, I'm filming this post-production because I watched my video and I just want to make sure that I have a huge disclaimer and that everyone's on the same page. The salary that you are earning post-articles varies greatly. I did watch it and I felt like, okay, I start at 45 grand a month as like a basis point. Coming back to that, I think that's fair for audit. That's definitely reasonable. But I have seen salaries advertised lower. I have seen starting salaries for a financial accountant post CASA articles at 35k. I've seen jobs for 30k. And I just want to make sure that all of you know that if you're earning less than the amounts that I quoted, that's totally normal. That's totally fine. It really does depend on where you're working, what sort of experience you have, what skills you have, whether you did your articles at a big four. There are so many factors. I just want to make sure that everyone is aware of that. I do not want this video to be a clickbaity video and make people believe that most people are earning 100 grand a month. That's not true at all. I think it happens. I've seen it happen, but it is an exception. Yeah, so just want to make sure everyone knows that. Again, I want this to be a very transparent environment and I don't want to mislead anyone. So yeah. Okay, back to video. And to bring it all back, just remember that no one's CA path is the same. You could have a totally different experience to me and I have a totally different experience to my peers. What really matters is how you strategize and how you want to plan your life. It's about setting intention now. So whether you're studying, doing your articles or post articles, planning ahead, what do I want to achieve? What are the best ways of getting there? And develop a strategy towards achieving those goals. I made a video about it. Please feel free to watch it. It does give guidance on how you can strategize better so that achieving a high salary in your first year post articles is super attainable. And that's all from me. Please comment below, where are you in your journey? If you're in audit, if you're recently qualified, if you're in finance, whatever, I'd love to hear from all of you. And let me know what you think about the salary ranges, if you think I'm being totally crazy. And then also, I am trying to be a bit more consistent on this channel. I think it's a really cute community and I'm really, really stoked about it. But if there's something else that you want to talk about, please let me know. I'm always happy to make new sorts of content. If this has helped you and if you found it interesting, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow and it's something I am really enjoying doing. So I hope you all have a lovely rest of your week, day, whenever it is that you see this. Thanks so much for sticking around. Bye.